Muito boa tarde a todos, sejam todos bem-vindos a mais uma sessão do Education USA. Hoje nós vamos falar sobre LLM e nós trouxemos três programas de LLM muito renomados, muito importantes, que vão falar a respeito de todo o processo de candidatura e tudo que seus programas podem oferecer. A University of New Hampshire, a University of Minnesota e a USC. Eu estou aqui representando o Education USA, que é a fonte oficial de informações sobre ensino superior nos Estados Unidos. Nós somos um braço do Departamento de Estado americano que ajuda estudantes internacionais como vocês a encontrarem as melhores opções para seus estudos, seja na graduação, mestrado, doutorado, LLM, MBA. E vocês podem contar com 50 centros em todo o Brasil. Nós também atendemos online, temos diversas atividades que são gratuitas. É só entrar no nosso site e nas nossas redes sociais. Essa sessão está sendo gravada e a partir de amanhã ela vai estar no nosso canal do YouTube. Vocês poderão acessar, compartilhar. E se alguém aqui não tiver muito confortável para falar inglês e quiser, a gente pode também, você pode colocar sua pergunta em português no chat e a gente traduz para você. Agora, chega de mim, minhas colegas. The floor is yours. You can start. Have a wonderful session.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. I think Hannah's just working to get the slides set up. So here we go. You have three representatives with you today from three different law schools located throughout the US, kind of geographically, so a good representation. And we're excited to give you an overview about studying law in the US. And some insights about the application process as well. We are super happy to answer your questions, so feel free to put those in the chat, or at the end, we'll save some times as well. So we'll start with our school introductions. We'll give you an overview of the US legal education system, talk about the admissions process, talk a little bit about the student experience, and then we'll take time for your questions. But like I said, if you have a question about the topic we're on and you want to raise your hand, we can pause and take your questions as we go as well.
All right, I'll go first. Alphabetically, the University of Minnesota comes first. Hello, everyone. I'm Hannah Logan. I'm the Assistant Director of International Programs at the University of Minnesota Law School. We have a general LLM, a business law LLM, and an SJD program, all of those in addition to our standard 3-year JD program, which is mostly for U.S. domestic students. We'll talk about that in a little bit. As far as our LLM and business law LLM degrees go, there are 12 optional concentrations, areas of law you can specialize in if you want, but those are just an option. We have a very generous scholarship program, a fantastic pre-LLM legal English summer series of mini courses in the classroom. All of our LLM and JD students are mixed together in the classes, so it's a really rich learning environment. We have a lot of opportunities for practical experiences for all of our students. You can see on the map that we're right in the middle of the country in the north, in a very medium-sized metropolitan area. There's a very affordable cost of living, 4 distinct seasons, lots of things to do outside all the time. Some really great, fun professional sports teams. Not necessarily very successful, but that means ticket prices are very affordable and lots of Fortune 500 companies if you're interested in business law and want to interact with some of our alumni who work at some of those places.
I think I'm next. So it's Hannah. Oh, perfect. So Sarah Dorner, I'm with the University of New Hampshire Franklin Pierce School of Law. We are the only law school in the state of New Hampshire, and we're located in the northeast of the US. We're about 1 hour north of Boston, Massachusetts, for some geographical context. I think not everyone has heard of New Hampshire, but it is truly a beautiful state, consistently ranked like #2 for the best state to live and #1 for safety. We have awesome access to the outdoors. We were just chatting this before about the seasons. So we do experience all 4 seasons here in New Hampshire. We have beautiful, I was going to say spring, but it's really summer weather here today. But it is a beautiful place for the fall foliage, with the leaves changing, and we're surrounded by ski mountains. So great for people who like the outdoors. We have 3 specialized LLM programs. So they are focused in the areas of intellectual property, commerce and technology, and international criminal law and justice. So, and then our IP program is offered both in person and online. The international criminal law and justice program is online only, and the commerce and tech program is in person only. Um, Students have, we have over 7,000 alumni practicing in over 80 countries around the world, a really strong Brazilian alumni network, and they are wonderful and really eager to help the next generation of students coming up. Our students are eligible to participate in our intellectual property and transaction clinic. We have a number of LLM students each year with the goal to sit for a US bar exam. So we do our best to help students carve out a curriculum pathway that would give them eligibility for a US bar exam. And I say this all the time, but our career services team is phenomenal, and they will work with students one-on-one on their resume and cover letter. They'll practice interviewing skills, teach you how to network, and they are there to support students who have a goal to return home, to leverage their LLM in their home country, or for students who are hoping to stay in the US for optional practical training to get some experience here. We've worked really hard to keep our tuition rate as low as possible, but still be able to offer generous partial tuition scholarships. And I'll mention that we have, for those of you who are interested in IP, we have a special partnership with the SIPI, the IP Association of the Americas. And so we have special scholarship for a SIPI members, as well as a SIPI hosts an essay competition each year. And two winners of that essay are eligible for a full tuition scholarship to the LLM. So if you're interested in intellectual property and you're not already an SIPI member, I'm happy to share more and would encourage you to become a member, not only for the tuition benefits, but because it is really a great association and excellent networking opportunities for your professional development. All right, I'll turn it over to Ashley.
Thank you, Sarah. Boa tarde. My name is Ashley Sim, Director of Admissions at the University of Southern California Gould School of Law. We are a small private law school that is part of a large research university. We are located in Los Angeles, California, which is among the top 3 cities in the US for the legal market. Geographically, you may be familiar with Los Angeles or California, but we are on the western coast. Our climate is very mild, sunny most of the time, kind of like my background. Today is very blue sky, warm climate. We spend a lot of time outdoors as a result. So it's great to be an LLM student for a year to really make the most of one's time here in California and to get out in addition to being in the libraries and the classroom too. I encourage you to learn about our school using the QR code on the screen, as we offer a variety of law degrees, including both general and specialized LLM degrees. We have a long list of certificates that you can choose from that you can fold into your degree at no additional cost. We offer a full range of academic, career, and bar advising and programming to support our LLM students. And we provide 2 start times in August and January. And all of our students who are admitted are automatically considered for various large scholarships for our Brazilian students. We offer campus housing for our LLM students to make their transition easier. And we have a really enthusiastic alumni network around the world, including in Brazil. And we have international offices to support our students and alumni. We'll be at EducationUSA LLM Fair in late September, beginning of October this year. So I hope that we will connect more later this year. And I will send it back to Sarah.
Thanks, Ashley. So I will get us started with an overview of the US legal education system, because it is quite different than most of the rest of the world, I think, which is not unusual for the US. So the LLM is a postgraduate degree that sits atop the JD degree. So here in the US, students who want to become a lawyer will get a bachelor's degree. They'll do a 4-year bachelor's degree program in any area. It's not specific to the law. Or doesn't have to be. And then if they want to become a lawyer, they will pursue a JD degree, which is typically 3 years of full-time study. Um, After that, they would be eligible to pursue an LLM degree. For foreign trained lawyers, typically you all are doing your LLB that is specialized in law, the Bachelor's of Law. And so you do not need to then get the JD degree. You are already eligible to become a lawyer in your home country. So for foreign trained attorneys, they are able to kind of bypass a few years of study and jump right from the bachelor's degree to the LLM degree and gain entrance to the program that way. Where the first degree in law here in the US is typically general, the LLM can be general, but it can also be specialized. And you heard Ashley and Hannah and I both kind of indicated that our schools have some areas of concentrations or programs that are just fully specialized in specific areas of the law. So it can be a good way to get some expert credentials in a specific area in which you plan to practice or are already practicing. As I mentioned, the JD degree is typically 3 years. In the US, once you have earned your JD, you then need to sit for a bar exam to actually become a licensed attorney. And the JD is designed to give students eligibility to take a bar exam. It is the standard for attorneys practicing in the US, so it is the preferred degree for lawyers here in the US. Most students in JD programs are US students, though I think all of our schools have a handful of international students pursuing a JD degree each year. The LLM, in contrast, is typically 1 year of full-time study in person. There are some 2-year LLM programs out there that often have like a legal English component to them, but most LLMs are 1 year. In some cases, it may give you eligibility to take a bar exam. So it's good to check with schools about that because every program is a little bit different and every state is different. For us, most of our students pursue the New York bar exam, though there are some other states that are friendly to students with an LLM degree. LLMs give you the opportunity to specialize in a certain area. I have a note here about the possibility of transferring to a JD program. So again, every school is a little bit different. Some schools may allow you to finish the LLM and then roll into a JD program and complete the program in 3 years total, one for the LLM and two for the JD. At our school at UNH Franklin Pierce, we do also offer what we call an advanced standing JD. So foreign trained attorneys can go right into the JD program and complete it in 2 years rather than 3. Pros and cons about that. So I won't get into all of that today because you are essentially losing out on a year of learning and summer opportunities, but it can expedite the process if you are looking to earn your JD instead of the LLM. And then most in-person LLM programs are going to be the majority international students from all over the world. There's 2 other degrees I'll mention just as a point of reference. The SJD is typically a 3 to 7 year research-based doctoral program. This is not so common here in the US for people to earn their SJD, but it can be more common for academic professions around the world. Not all schools have an SJD program, so we're not going to talk too much about that today. But if you do have questions, we're happy to share a little bit. And then finally, there's the MLS, or this goes by all sorts of different names, but it's essentially a master's degree, a master's of legal studies for students who have a bachelor's degree in a field other than the law, but who want to get some foundational core knowledge in the law. This is typically a 1-year program. A lot of schools have online programs that can be completed part-time. Again, this is not designed for you to become a practicing attorney, but good for people who are working in professions that are kind of adjacent to the law. It's most common for US students, but we're seeing an increase in international students expressing interest in this degree as well. And as you consider LLM programs, just know that there are so many different types of programs out there and lots to consider. So I already kind of referenced geographical differences. The US is huge, and each little region has its own culture and unique identity. So when you're thinking about where you want to pursue your LLM, think about the geographics. Do you want to be somewhere where it's sunny all the time? Do you want winter? Do you have family in a certain part of the US? So, are you looking for a big city or something a little bit, more quieter for your studies? No right or wrong in any of this, just different approaches. Again, academically, take a look at the different classes that are offered. Find out if you are looking to specialize in a certain area, does that school have that specialization? Think about professionally, where do you want to land when you're done your degree? If you want to land back in Brazil practicing, are there people that are practicing in the region? Does the school have connections? Um, so lots to consider there. What opportunities will there be for you when you're a student? And then personally, so much about the US law school experience is not just what happens in the classroom, but also all of the activities that go on outside the classroom. So ask questions about student organizations and guest speakers and special events to find out what the feel is like at the school. Is there a community feel? Are there big class sizes, smaller class sizes? You know you best, and you want to find the right fit for you. When it comes to actually looking for LLM programs, we have here just a handful of suggestions of where you might begin your search. So, of course, Education USA has great information about opportunities available to you. They can perhaps put you in touch with the different schools, or they'll know a little bit about some of the options. Attending virtual events like this is a great way to learn more about different programs out there. And then two or a few like key places I think to search is the Law School Admissions Council. They maintain a directory of all LLM programs in the US. So you can even sign up for their free candidate referral service where schools can contact you. So you could say, I'm really interested in tax law, and I'd love to hear from schools that offer LLM programs in tax law. So that's one way to do it. In addition, the American Bar Association also has a listing of LLM programs. You can search by school. So if you know you're really interested in a particular school, you can go and see what LLM programs they offer. Or if you know that you're interested in maritime law, you can search for schools that are offering maritime law. And there are specializations for everything. LLM Guide and LLM Study, I think a lot of schools have profiles on these sites that kind of give an overview of their programs in their school. I hear from our students all the time that they're looking on LinkedIn and they're looking for alumni or current students who've attended the school so they can learn more about who's going there and connect with other students. Ashley, Hannah, and I and our colleagues at other schools, we're also really happy to put you in touch with current students and recent graduates. We do our very best to help make those connections. So don't hesitate to reach out and say, you're interested, you'd love to hear from a student about their firsthand experience. All of our schools have websites. You can fill out a form to request more information or to schedule a meeting with an admissions counselor. And then the US News and World Report can be a helpful tool. There's a lot of nuances that go into those rankings, some pros, some cons. So I think it's one resource. I wouldn't put all of your focus on those rankings, but for some students, they can be a helpful piece of the puzzle. Great, and I think I'm going to turn it over to, is it you, Ashley?
Yes, it is. Thanks, Sarah. So if you've identified some LLM programs you wish to enroll in, then you can put together your application. Each school may have slightly different requirements, but generally your application for a particular school in the US may be made up of several components. One is your application form that asks you for, basic information about yourself, including your contact information and educational history. Be mindful of submitting the right application form. For instance, here at USC, we offer a long list of degree programs, both on campus and online, and we want to make sure you complete the correct form so that there's no delay in completing your application. Second, your resume or CV. That provides a great skeletal outline of your academic, extracurricular, and professional background. I personally love starting out my review of an applicant by reviewing their resume because it gives me at a quick glance a summary of the applicant, what that person has done. The personal statement or essays make up another essential component of your application. That allows you to fill in that skeletal outline to share who you are, why you're pursuing the LLM. So you can think of your personal statement or essays as the why to your resume or CV, which is the what. I find that the personal statement is a great place to determine whether the applicant is the right fit for my school's program. Your university transcript and law degree verification are critical for meeting eligibility and academic requirement for the LLM. That is a really critical part and may take a while to get through to completion. So I would pay attention to that pretty early on in the process, and I'll get to that in a little bit too. English proficiency exam score report allows the law school to determine your ability to thrive in the classroom because you'll be speaking in English and reading everything in English and engaging with your professors and fellow classmates in English. And finally, letters of recommendation, typically 1 to 2 are required if they are required at all by the law schools. They allow people who know you really well to provide an assessment to add a helpful dimension to your components. Next slide, please. So now that you know about the application components, let's go over the application process. First, I would recommend that you determine whether you need to take the English proficiency exam. As if you do, you may need to build in some time to prepare for it. If you think you may qualify for a waiver, check with each university you're applying to ask if they have different requirements for qualifying for a waiver. If you're required to take the exam and you've done it already, you may be required to retake it if it's been some years ago. So again, it's a good idea to check in advance with the law schools you intend to apply to about their requirements. The TOEFL or IELTS are accepted by most, if not all, schools. I know that in Brazil, the TOEFL is the most common exam taken by Brazilian students. And just know that there are no other standardized exams required for the LLM. In contrast, if you're applying for the JD program, you are most likely required to take the LSAT or the GRE exam. Next slide, please. Second, determine if you should apply through the Law School Admission Council. Sarah mentioned that a bit ago. Some schools require you to apply via LSAC and use its transcript authentication and evaluation service. Others may allow you to apply directly to them. As all law schools use LSAC, though, it may be a convenient way to apply to more than one school, as you'll only be required to submit your transcript and degree information once. And then LSAC will serve as a clearinghouse for sending out your application components to the schools that you're applying to. You do have to pay LSAC fees to use their services, but the individual law schools may be helpful in providing waivers for application fees for their schools, and perhaps they can be helpful for LSAC fees as well. Once you have your LSAC account open, it's good for 5 years. So For instance, if you decide to defer and apply a year later, everything that LSAC has received and processed for you should still be there for you. Next slide, please. Third, contact your university where you obtained your LLB degree to request transcript and degree information. If you're applying via LSAC, it's great to download the transcript form from your LSAC account to provide to your university so that LSAC can easily match the documentation they receive to your application file. Whether or not you use LSAC, the law schools you apply to will require that the documentation be official, which means that they don't come from you, the student or applicant, but directly from the schools. They will require an English translation. So it's a good idea to communicate with your university about the package they're going to put together to send to LSAC or to the law schools, because you may be really helpful in putting that package together. Fourth, be mindful of all of the application deadlines for the law schools you're applying to. Some have earlier deadlines for application waivers and scholarship consideration. You may wish to consult with EducationUSA and the law schools you're applying to in order to make sure that you're submitting all the required documents by the applicable deadlines. It's a great idea to apply early in general so that you have sufficient time to prepare for your student visa and arrive in the US well before classes begin, so you're not stressed. And I think that covers it for the application process, and I'll hand things over to Hannah.
All right, thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Sarah. So we give presentations like this together, the three of us, pretty regularly. And we could talk for hours about each one of these components, about the admission process, about what an LLM degree is like. But we really wanted to focus today on the admissions process and then the student experience. What is life like once you're enrolled here? So now that we've gone over how to find the right degree, how to apply, and hopefully get admitted to an LLM degree, I want to take a few minutes to talk about what life would be like. So there are two different types of activities when you're enrolled in school in the United States. Curricular is related to the curriculum. That's the coursework inside the classroom, things that you do for credit that count toward your degree. Extracurricular are outside of the curriculum, so usually outside of the classroom. They are not required activities. They're encouraged, of course, and sometimes the school provides these opportunities. Sometimes they sponsor and organize them, and sometimes they're organized by outside organizations or maybe student organizations, so affiliated with the school but not officially put on by the school. So just a little helpful context there as we talk about these things. So extracurricular activities in the United States, there are so many opportunities to do things and really make the most of your time. So as far as more academic related things, there are lots of opportunities to do some early US bar prep if that's something you're considering. There are networking opportunities. This picture here on this slide is some of my students a few years ago. Dorsey, which is a big law firm in Minneapolis, invited our LLM students from Minnesota Law and then another law school's LLM cohort in town to come do a networking event with their attorneys. And that was a really great way for our students to not only learn from practicing attorneys within the US, but also get to know some of their LLM colleagues, peers, who were also spending the year in the US as international students and to make some friends and professional connections that way. Many of our law schools participate in LLM job fairs where employers who are looking specifically for LLM graduates do some interviews and review resumes and give you a chance to apply for jobs that way. I'll talk a little bit about pro bono volunteering in a moment, as well as student organizations, which are school affiliated organizations, but not school regulated necessarily. And then on-campus work, we could talk for a long time about that too. But if you are in the United States on an F1 visa, you can work up to 20 hours per week on campus. Now, usually these are jobs in places like the library, food services, maintenance, facilities, something like that. Typically, they are not teaching assistant positions or research assistant positions or particularly legal related at all, but it is something you can do outside of the classroom for a specific amount of time each week. Generally, overall, these are just ways for you to enjoy your life outside the classroom. Of course, you're coming to the United States to earn a degree, to go to class, to get this knowledge, but you must make sure you have time to have fun and enjoy your life as well. You are not a robot doing this degree. So, every university has many, many student organizations. Some of them are for the entire university, undergraduate students and graduate students and professional students all together, and some of them are just for law students. There are two kind of types of student organizations. One we call affinity groups. So a part of your identity or a part of your interests as far as what type of law, for example. Maybe there are religious groups that create student organizations to get together, where you're from geographically, your gender, LGBTQ status, anything like that. Then there are a different set, a different type of student organizations that are more based on activities, things like chess, ping pong, rock climbing, hockey, kickball, volunteering, that sort of thing, that are more active and less based on who you are and more based on what you like doing. So, as promised, there are a lot of pro bono opportunities. If you're not familiar with this, it is when pro bono is when attorneys provide free legal services for people who cannot afford to pay for them. And a lot of these are done by law students who are supervised by practicing attorneys. So you are not providing this legal service by yourself as a law student, but a practicing attorney, often a professor or an adjunct professor working with a local nonprofit or other organization, will help provide legal services for free to people in the community. Obviously, this is a kind, altruistic thing to do. It's just good for society and good for the world. It's also required by the New York bar exam. If you want to be barred in the state of New York, you must have at least 50 hours of pro bono work to get that credential. And then, of course, outside of sort of organized events, you can do many, many things in the communities where you're living for this year or two as a student in the United States. So I know Ashley and Sarah can chime in with their examples in their towns as well. But every year, that top right photo with the yellow school bus, we at Minnesota Law take our students shopping for winter clothes to make sure that they have the right hats, mittens, boots, everything to prepare for winter. There's a lot of local theater, live music, museums. You can take the bus or the train or fly and see lots of our students go to Los Angeles, for example, getting outside in nature, eating at great restaurants. Before I turn it over to my colleagues, I will say, because you have a student ID in the US, that often will help you get discounts at places like museums or restaurants. So, Ashley, do you want to give an example of some fun thing your students do?
Yeah, thanks, Hannah. Yeah, on our campus, our students attend concerts, plays, musicals. We have a very large university with lots of different schools. And so they provide a lot of talent that students can access. So it's really fun to attend these events. We host an amazing book festival each year on campus that draws like hundreds of authors from across the nation. We have a museum on campus that puts on interesting exhibits. Right now, it's hosting original documents from the founding of our nation, including drafts of the Declaration of Independence and Bill of Rights. There are lots of sporting events. USC is a big school on sports. We have a lot of like Olympic athletes and national level kind of very strong in sports. And we have a lot of heated games against UCLA, our crosstown rival. And of course, there's so many things to do in Los Angeles and Southern California, including enjoying all the nature. You could go to the beach, go to the mountains, and go to the desert all in one day if you would like. And my favorite is like restaurants, just every type of cuisine you could imagine is available in LA. So You could try every type of food during your LLM year. And I'll hand things over to Sarah to share a bit too.
Thanks. I love that about going to the beach, the mountains, and the desert in one day. So I already talked a little bit about just the access to nature here as well. Amazing trail network right in the city where the school is located. The law school itself is located next to a park with a pond that freezes over, and there's ice skating out there in the winter, and a big hockey tournament that happens, and our law school has a big party around that. So that's really fun. In terms of kind of special events for students, so there's a picture here where they arranged a trip to Boston for the day. There's bus transportation. It takes about an hour to get there, so not far at all. We take our students every year to an ice hockey game at the main university campus. They have a great men's ice hockey team, so that's really fun for the sporting event. We also take students snow tubing in the winter, so you get to kind of get pulled up to the top of a little hill, and then you go flying down in a big tube. So that's a lot of fun. In the fall, we're doing apple picking at a beautiful orchard and enjoying apple cider and donuts during that. We do a little pumpkin carving activity, and there's a lot that goes on around Halloween. It's a little odd, but Concord, New Hampshire is just really big into Halloween. So lots of fun activities around that. And then we do some special meals around Thanksgiving as well, so that students get a chance to enjoy an American Thanksgiving. But our students we're in like a Main Street community. So students will walk downtown on the weekends to the farmers market, to go to the independent bookstore and movie theater, a lot of performing arts venues. So lots going on. And again, very close access to Boston. New York is about a 4-hour bus ride. So students might visit New York as well when they're here. What I've heard from students is that we're not a big city. And so it's a little bit of an adjustment at first, but they really appreciate that there's fewer distractions. They can focus on their studies, but there's still a great community feel here, that they're really a part of the law school and all that's going on here, and lots of opportunities nearby as well.
All right. Well, I hope that's been helpful for everybody. I can't see the chat. I can see that there are things in the chat, but I cannot see them without messing up my little sharing my screen here. But are there any questions we should cover right now?
Hannah, there was, Ashley and I responded to a couple, but there was one specifically for you about one of your programs, your human rights program. So when you stop screen sharing, hopefully you'll be able to have a chance to see that question. But yes, otherwise we're happy to take any other questions, or this seems like a friendly group, so feel free if you're comfortable and want to unmute, you're welcome to ask your question live as well.
Pessoal, podem fazer as perguntas em português, eu posso traduzir também se vocês quiserem. A Camila levantou a mão. Camila, please.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for the presentation. I am Camila. I'm an Education USA advisor also. And I'm curious about two things. So I was very interested in these pro bono opportunities that you guys mentioned. And I was thinking to myself, I saw that I believe it's Sarah, right, who has online LLM programs. Are these opportunities also for online programs, or they are only possible in person?
So our clinic does allow students in the online program to participate in that. It is a pretty in-demand course, and so we can't guarantee space. It usually comes after you've had a few classes under your belt or certain requirements, but it is possible to enroll in the intellectual property and transaction clinic. That is a class that you take for credit, but you do take on real clients during that time. So it's great to get some, kind of experiential learning as well.
Okay, thank you. And my second question is related to what you guys mentioned about transferring from an LLM to a JD. I didn't know this was an option. If you guys could just talk a little bit more about it, I would really appreciate it. Thank you.
I can take that one, Camilla. We have an LLM to JD transfer program. The transfer is a little may be unclear as to what is actually happening, which is you are earning both the LLM degree and the JD degree in a shorter period of time. So it's not as if you're abandoning your LLM degree and just moving over to the JD. So what's nice is that you are earning both degrees in a shorter period of time. Our students in the LLM program are eligible to apply for the JD during the second semester of their LLM program. They go through an application process, and grades earned in the first semester of the LLM program are really important. They will also undertake an interview as well by our JD admissions office. And what they're looking for are just students who will be not only academically prepared for the JD, but also contribute to our student community. There's 40 different clubs at the school and lots of ways to get involved. And so they'll be taking a look at that too. So we always encourage our students not just to study during the LLM, but get involved in lots of different ways for their professional development. And if they are interested in the JD, that can also be an asset for them when they apply for it. So I don't think I mentioned this, but the critical difference between applying directly to a JD program versus through the transfer program is you do not take the LSAT exam that's required of our JD applicants. But it is a very competitive program. So we really try to walk through the process for any student who's interested to make sure that they understand what's involved in taking that route to apply for the transfer.
Okay, thank you. That's an amazing opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll say it's essentially the same at Minnesota law as far as the process goes and how competitive it is. So same here.
Yeah, and the only difference at UNH Franklin Pierce is that you can come and do the LLM and then pursue the JD, but there is also the option to apply for the advanced standing JD, which functions very similarly. As Ashley mentioned, you do not have to take the LSAT or GRE. So that is an option as well. And again, I think pros and cons to that. But if you are kind of set on a JD, it's one pathway to consider.
Thank you very much.
I think Lucas would like to ask a question. Please feel free, Lucas.
Olá, Fernanda, será que você poderia me ajudar com uma pergunta, por favor?
Claro, sem dúvida, pode falar e a gente traduz.
Ok, muito obrigado. Eu gostaria de saber como que a USC ela ajuda os estudantes internacionais do LLM a criarem conexões profissionais reais lá nos Estados Unidos, especialmente para quem quer atuar com clientes internacionais na parte do direito, sem seguir o caminho tradicional das Big Law em Nova York.
Mm. So this question is especially for USC. Lucas is asking, what are the resources at the USC Law School to help LLM graduates to get into the job market without having to go through big law, the big law pathway?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Lucas. We do have LLM career advisors. These are career advisors that work only with our LLM students, and they do a lot of different things, including before you even come to USC over the summer. So they will host webinars about the US legal market and about the US bar exam so that you can start preparing before you leave Brazil, including documents that you may want to collect before you leave. And once you arrive, they will do a series of workshops about lots of different topics, including how to search for jobs, how to update your resume, how to write cover letters. They will practice mock interviews with you. They have a career manual that is provided to every student. That is a really great reference tool. They will meet with students one-on-one to determine your career goals and how to meet those goals. They will talk to you about experiential learning opportunities. They will talk about how to utilize your optional practical training year, which is a way to extend your student visa for an additional year while you're in the US, so that after you complete your degree, you can do an experiential learning, whether that's through a job or an internship. And often our graduates obtain their full-time job from that OPT experience. We have conferences on campus and throughout the city of Los Angeles. There are bar association events. We really encourage our students to go out and attend those things, events, and opportunities to network, because that's another way to make connections. We also encourage our students to connect with our alumni, and we will invite our alumni to events so they can give you advice. So whether that is connecting with Brazilian alumni or just USC LLM alumni, it's a wonderful way to get some help in accessing the job market as well. And finally, there is an LLM job fair you can attend in Los Angeles and in New York. Some students like to try to look for jobs that way. And so we will help prepare our students for those LLM fairs. And we will accompany those students who want to do the LLM job fair in New York to go along with them for support. So there's just so many different things in terms of career support. We find that the students who utilize our career services from the very beginning of the academic year and are proactive are most successful. We don't want you to wait until right before graduation to think about, professional development. But yeah, I think our career advisors do a really great job in working with our students and supporting them. I hope that was helpful to address your question, Lucas.
Thank you, Ashley. I'm going to just get the main points that you said, so to translate to Lucas. Então, Lucas, assim, eu acho que são três etapas importantes. E o que ela falou é que na USC você vai ser ajudado desde antes de você chegar a começar o seu curso. Você foi aceito, você está matriculado, já tem profissionais do Career Center que vão te ajudar a entender quais são seus objetivos, quais são as suas metas, ajudar a desenhar um pouco o que você pode fazer para tirar o melhor proveito daquela experiência. Durante o seu LLM, você vai ter acesso ao Career Center, à associação de alunos, a oportunidade de participar de feiras e também de todos esses recursos extras que elas falaram, trabalhar nas clinics, né? Então, você vai ter muitas oportunidades, porque eles não querem que você chegue ao final do seu curso e comece a planejar seus próximos passos. Você tendo podendo fazer o exame do bar, você vai poder participar da LLM Career Center em LA, em Los Angeles, também vai poder participar da feira em Nova York. Eles também acompanham você, se você quiser. Então, assim, tem muitos recursos em volta para te ajudar a fazer o melhor possível da sua experiência. Inclusive, estágios, né, que é o CPT, e também o OPT, que é uma maneira de você procurar emprego, é uma busca, eles não garantem isso, mas é uma busca de emprego ativa, em que você pode ser escolhido por alguma organização para você trabalhar com visto por mais um ano, pelo menos. Então, também existe essa oportunidade que é válida para qualquer aluno que complete um grau nos Estados Unidos, seja graduação, mestrado, doutorado. Espero que tenha ficado claro. Ficou claro, Lucas? Ficou com alguma dúvida?
Claro, ficou até mais que esclarecido. Muito obrigado pela tradução, viu?
Nada, nada. Thank you. So here, great. Let me make a screenshot of it, of this.
Yeah, and please know that Hannah and Ashley and I are really happy to speak with you, each of you, one-on-one if you have questions about our programs or just in general, the LLM application process, what it's like to be a student at a US law school. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us personally, and we're happy to connect.
Yeah, may I just add that when they say they are available, they mean it. Because there's a cultural thing in Brazil that maybe they're just being polite. No, I'm emphasizing you're not being polite, you're being honest, and they mean it. So reach out, ask questions. I am sure they agree that there's no silly question, no question is minor. You need to understand, to be aware of everything, to make the best choices that are the best fit for your career, for your academic goals. So yeah, make the most of it, guys. Let me see, there's another comment here. So, oh, okay. Congrats on your presentation, girls. Okay.
Thank you. And thank you so much for organizing this today. We appreciate it.
You're
And for those
welcome.
of you who joined, thank you for taking the time to be here.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. A partir de amanhã, essa apresentação estará no nosso canal do YouTube. Não percam, compartilhem, tá bom? Thank you very much, girls. I'm gonna send you all the details afterwards.
Perfect. Obrigada. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.